Hey everybody, how we doing today? Hope you're having an awesome one. We're having a great weather here. It's really been spectacular. It feels like summertime here, so in California. It's been in the 80s all week. So it's shorts and t-shirt weather for sure, sandals. But next week it kind of goes back to normal. It's back. I think we have a day or two in the 60s and it's back in the low 70s. So it's kind of closer back to where we should be, I guess. But anyway, hopefully you're having great weather where you are. Hopefully spring is right around the corner. So hopefully things are starting to thaw out a little bit. Hopefully not too many more bad storms, ice storms, or blizzards, or any other kind of storm. So I gotta learn to stop saying so. But something I'm working on. Kind of talking on this is kind of when I watch my videos back, it kind of makes me realize, hey, there's things that I need to improve on, right? Hopefully you like it though. So today we're going to talk a little bit about something that I think everybody has seen out there, everybody has done out there. I'm going to tell you that I've done probably 20 different versions of this, and some of them I've liked, some of them I have not liked. Some of them I will use for certain types of recipes, some I will not use for certain types of recipes. But today we're going to make a loaf, and I realized my wife said to me, we make loaves of that protein sparing modifying bread all the time for us, but you've never actually made one on a video of the one that you make. So today I'm going to make the protein sparing modified loaf, and I'm going to show you how I make it. I'm going to say that I go back closer to probably to Maria Emmerich's original recipe. I do change it a little bit, but it's probably closer to hers. I'm going to put a link down to Maria Emmerich's recipe down below. You'll see that my recipe pretty much mimics her recipe with the exception of a couple of modifications. And I'll put those modifications down below too. So go down there and check it out afterwards as well. So some as well, some of that, I put some Amazon links and stuff down there, affiliates. If you go down there and help me out and use some of those links, so there's stuff that you see here you like, if you use some of those links out, it helps me pay for some of this material that we use and stuff. I will say that for the most part, everything that we cook, we try to eat. It's why we only do one video every week, or try to do one video every week, just because I don't want to cook a lot and put it in a freezer. I only got a really small freezer, and I don't have that much room in it. So you guys would help me out in that. It would be grateful, helpful. But anyway, so we're gonna do it's virtually a zero carb, total carb, not net carb. Virtually, according to the FDA, you could rate this as a zero carb bread. So that's how low the carbs are in it. So it tastes really good. My wife's not a keto person either, though. She eats a lot of the keto stuff that I cook, and she really likes the bread. So I'm going to kind of go through it and show you how I make it. So if you're interested in a zero total carb bread, instead of having one that has all this wheat gluten and all this other stuff in it, then this may be a pretty cool video for you. And I'll give you some pointers at the end, like I said, because I do some variations of it. Now again, Maria Emmerich talks about, with all these iterations that are out there that all these people are doing and all the stuff that they're adding, it's not really protein sparing modifying bread anymore. So, and then she's talking about the bread itself, because you're adding all kinds of extra stuff to it that makes it protein sparing. So if you're doing protein sparing modify, you just got to be careful that it fits into the macros if you're doing that a couple days a week or something like that. But anyway, so I'm going to show you my basic recipe. It's what I use every time I go, and then again, like I said, I'll go through at the end and we'll talk a little bit some renditions of it, because I do use some versions of it for that I cook for other occasions and stuff. So if you're interested in seeing it, stick around, and hopefully you'll really enjoy it. So what do you guys think of the shout outs so far? Hopefully you're liking them. So this week's shout out is going to go to Finding Fitness with Sharon. So Sharon has a channel where she actually does workouts. So if you're looking for a channel that does workouts, she's the one to go over there and look at. She's a just extremely caring person. She instructs on the videos, so they're easy to follow. And there's a wide variety of workout, you name it, and there's a workouts there for everything. There's more advanced stuff. There's targeting parts of your body like your abs or your arms or your back, as well as just the overall caringness and willing to share and to be there for you and help encourage you and motivate you to keep going and moving forward, right? So she is a personal trainer, so by trade, so she knows what she's talking about. So go over there and check her channel out. I really enjoyed the workouts on her channel. So it's actually, you know, it's good to see her and good to watch her. She's actually doing some boot camp stuff right now. So it's actually really, really good time to go over there and start checking out her channel. So do that. And let me know what you think of the shout outs. Make sure when you go over to her channel, make sure that you're over there visiting. Tell her that you're visiting from Alan's Awesome Keto World and Alan sent you, right? So I'd really, really appreciate that. So she's a really, really good person. So, you know, again, people kind of ask me, well, why do you shout out other channels? Well, you know, I believe that you should be able to go out and looking at other people and what other people are doing. You know, it's great for some of these other folks that have a lot more time to spend and everything else. I know for me, I work a full-time job, so plus other activities and going away, and I try very hard not to interfere with time with my wife and I to spend together, right? So that's one of the things that we try to do. It's hard. YouTube is pretty time consuming, but it's well worth it. You guys are really helped me out a lot and really encouraging me a lot. So with that said, we're going to start with the protein sparing modifying bread. So again, if you want to see a bread, now I say it's protein sparing, but you can eat it anytime. We eat it all the time. You know, if you go over to my Instagram down below, you'll see yesterday I posted pictures of our breakfast where I had a couple of eggs and some sausage, and I had some toast made from protein sparing modifying bread to go with that. So it's really a great bread to eat anytime. You can toast it, make cheese sandwiches with it. It's actually pretty cool. I'm really enjoying it. I'm digging it. So we've been doing it now for 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months now, or whatever. You know, Gianna Greta, Anita, Ketogenic Woman, Indigo Nelly, there's a bunch of them out there that are doing it, so you have a wide variety of it. I will tell you that out of all the ones that I've tried, I kind of keep going back to the sparing one. So I'm going to go through with all that, and I'm going to make this version. My version is made with egg whites, and I'm using the liquid egg whites. I found that the powdered egg whites make my bread very dry, so I'm not a big fan of them. I've played around with it, and I put yolk in them, the yolk powder in them, and regular yolks in them, and everything else. But the liquid egg whites seem to stay moist and texture better, so I really like it better. So that's the version that I use, and that's the version we're going to be going through today. I'm going to adjust the camera right now, and then we'll get into the cooking. All right, here we go. Like I said, I'm going to just I actually Anita over at Ketogenic Woman started doing this. She started doing it on hers, so I've started doing it, and I've had no problem doing it. So I just mix everything in the bowl right before I mix it. So I'm going to use, this is 16 ounces of the egg whites from Costco. So I'm going to put this whole 16 ounces in here. Now you can, if you want, use 12 egg whites and separate the eggs yourself. That's purely and simply up to you. When it comes to cooking, I kind of like to take little shortcuts here and there where I can. So I take that, put that in here. I'm actually going to use next, I'm going to use some beautiful Keto Chow egg white powder that they had given me. So I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of this. I believe this is one of the variations because I believe Maria uses a 1/2 cup and I only use 1/3. So I use that 1/3. Keto Chow works pretty good. Actually has a picture of Maria Emmerich on it, so it actually works pretty good. I know it's not the cheapest, but it works pretty good. So next I'm going to use some natural yeast. This is something else that Maria Emmerich does not put in hers. I'm going to put in, so this is just the nutritional yeast, I should say. So So I'm going to sprinkle that in there. And I'm going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of this xanthan gum. Again, that's all it is, just xanthan gum. It's a thickening agent if you're not really sure what it is. I'm going to put in some allulose in there. Wholesome Yum allulose. And you don't have to use very much. And I know the recipe, I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons in here. Because all this is really just a browning agent for the top of the bread. That's all it really does. And then I'm going to use some cream of tartar in this. And again, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of this. This is just kind of an agent that helps the bread from falling. I know most people have already seen this recipe a dozen times. And then I'm going to put some salt. So I guess one of the things I do a little different, like I said, I'm going to add some other stuff here in a second, but is that I'm like doing what Anita was doing, and I'm just mixing it all in the bowl all at once versus whipping the egg whites to stiff peaks and then adding the stuff to it. I'm putting it right in, and it seems to mix up just fine that way. I will tell you, if you're putting anything with fats in there, then you cannot put them in at this point in time. So then I'm just going to put in a little onion powder. Again, I'm just doing some of this stuff for seasoning. A little onion powder. I put a little dash of cayenne pepper in there just to, because I like to have it give me that little bit of a texture bite. And again, I put some red crushed peppers in there. And you can put anything in here for seasoning, thymes, or whatever you like, Italian seasoning or anything else. And then this is just some garlic powder that I'm going to sprinkle in here. I kind of like that Italian-y, garlicky taste to it. So, and that's all there is to it. Then I'm going to take, and I'm just going to kind of mix it up a little bit before I put it on there. Otherwise you get that big whoosh of powder. All right, now I'm gonna fight with my blender to get it over here. So again, even with these blenders, I will tell you, like this blender here, this Hamilton Beach is not an expensive one, but it works great. It's really cost effective for me. I think we paid $100 for it, and we've used it for 6 months now, and it's a heck of a lot better than hitting this thing with a hand mixer. So go out there and think about it, because if you're going to do this a lot, it's worth it. So what I do is I just kind of, I got to plug it in first. That helps. So I just kind of gently, just because I want to get a little bit of it all mixed together, just to get it going a little bit. Now I'm going to turn this up on high, and I'm going to pause the camera just because it's going to make a lot of noise, rounder noise. I'm going to let this run for about 5 minutes, probably 4 to 6 minutes, so 5 minutes is in the middle. I did preheat my oven to 325 degrees, so it's ready to go in, and that's all there is to it. So we'll see you when it comes back here, when this is whipped to stiff peaks. Let's see if we have stiff peaks. So to tell if you have stiff peaks is you look at it, and if you come over and it has a point to it, does it stay up? Now it stays up. Turn it upside down. It doesn't. So that's a stiff peak. So that's when we say stiff peaks, that's what we mean. So. Like I say, I'm sure almost everybody's seen this bread already. So all I'm going to do now is I have my bread loaf pan. I lined it with parchment paper. It just makes it so much easier to get it out after it's baked. And then I just kind of stick this in. This will make a pretty nice loaf, so almost there. And I put these little clips on here to hold the parchment paper down. If you're doing that, make sure you don't forget these, because I have forgotten them and put them in the oven before, and then they start melting, and because they got little rubber on the handle. So, so just. Oh yeah, my wife just reminded me I got to put it, because if you put a slit down the middle, for some reason, and when it grows, it will come out in the middle. If you don't do that, it actually kind of goes all over the place, to be honest with you. So, but that's the way the loaf looks like right now. We're going to throw this in the oven. I'm not sure I can get it on the camera or not. I'm going to try to. And without adjusting the camera too much. I don't know if you can see the oven or not, but we're going to throw this in here. All right, I'm going to adjust the camera up so it's in the oven. Oh. I know, right in my face, right? Sorry about that. But anyway, so it's in the oven. I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to set it for 35 minutes. I found that 30 minutes was just not quite enough, and 40 minutes was too much. So 35, I'm going to stick it in the middle. I know depending on what recipe you're following and who you're watching cook them. So I'm telling you that I'm going to cook mine for 35 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do. It's kind of right in the middle. Now at the end there, after I've done it and whipped it to stiff peaks, if you wanted to make it, and you'll see me do some variations, I actually made that banana bread. I followed a very similar recipe than this. I added egg yolks into it, and then I added the banana keto chow into it. So if you're going to make, I found that works well. Some of the keto chows work well that you can actually mix it in right at the beginning with the bowl. Some you cannot. I know that the chocolate one, when I mix it at the beginning like I do with the protein powder and everything else, then I can't whip it, and it doesn't whip to stiff peaks at all. So I have to add it at the end. I don't know if there's some kind of fat or there's something else in the chocolate one that that affects it so it won't rise. But it does work if you, after you whip it to stiff peaks, you put it in and then let it run, pour this in and then let it run for like 10 seconds at high speed just to mix it all in. It mixes really well. And if you want to make like a chocolate bread or a strawberry bread or just some kind of a sweet bread, you can do that alternative too as well. So, all right, we're going to come back in about 35 minutes. I'll show you the loaf of bread. When the bread is done, again, these are egg whites, and it's different than the regular egg powder one. If you just use all egg powder, the egg white ones, when it's done in 35 minutes, we're going to let it sit in the oven. We're going to turn the oven off. We're going to let it sit in there for 10 to 15 minutes. Just continue to cook and firm up. Otherwise, it has a habit of the sides have a habit of sinking in and stuff. So, all right, so we'll come back here in 35 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so the oven just beeped. It's ending. So I'm going to get down here and I'm going to just show you real quick like what it looks like in the oven. I'm not going to take it out. I got to wait about 10 more minutes. But I thought I'd just kind of take it down and kind of show you what it looks like in the oven, so you kind of see. It looks like a pretty good loaf of bread. So we're going to turn this off. We're going to let this sit for 10 more minutes. And I'll come back, I'll show you, take it out of the oven. We'll let it sit, then we're going to let it sit and cool for a little bit, get closer to room temperature before we take it out of the pan. And then we'll do a taste test. All right, so we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes. Or in about 2 seconds in video land. All right, it's time to take this thing out of the oven. Oh, there it is. So you can see when I put the slit down there, it kind of grows off to the sides a little bit. It helps keep it a little more shaped, but that's what it looks like. So I'm going to put this on top of the oven. We're going to let this cool over here. I got another pan over there. We're actually going to make start working on my my dessert for our Valentine's dinner. We're going to make an ube roll cake. If you haven't seen me do that before, I do have a video on that. So I'll put a link up here if you're interested in it. It's actually really, really good. So if you like ube and if you like roll cakes, it's a win-win. So, all right, we'll come back in about 10 or 15 minutes when this cools off, gets closer to room temperature. We'll take it out of the pan. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll do a taste test. All right, this is pretty cool now, so I'm gonna take this out. Maybe I should have taken it out a little bit earlier. I'm gonna put the camera down a little bit so you can see that and not me. All right, so this is what the bread looked like. It did go in a little bit on the sides. I should have probably taken it out of the pan when it was still a little warm, instead of let it sit in the pan that long. I was making the ube cake. That's in the oven now, so that's baking. So that's what the loaf looks like. I know, it looks like a loaf of bread, right? And you know, the one thing I did forget to get was the bread knife. So I grabbed the bread knife. I gotta find the bread knife. Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Not really a bread knife, but we have a bread knife here somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure where it is right at the moment. I'm not gonna hunt for it. So it looks pretty good though overall. So I'm gonna cut into it and I'll show you what it looks like. Again, the allulose is what gives it that brown texture. So, show you what it looks like, what it tears like. So that's what it looks like. So, well, I did get a pocket in there. So, get a better shot of it. So that's what the bread looks like inside. All right, so I am going to tip this up, the camera up. I'm going to shut it off here and we'll tip it up and set it up and I'll do the taste test and we'll go through the macros. All right, so we're back. So I got to get a new tripod because this one it's kind of not real easy to tip back and forth. So I got to play with it when I do it. So I got to work on it. I do have one. This actually comes with the camera and it actually has a remote and everything and it's really cool, but it's small and it's good for walking around and stuff, but it's not so good for like cooking videos and stuff of that nature where I gotta kind of set it up and then tip it down. So I gotta do something else. So, but I do digress. Let's talk about this food. See, I really like this bread. I like this recipe. I do sometimes I'll put the 2 egg yolks in it as well. And I know Janet Greta, that's how she makes hers. But I've kind of gone back to the beginning, closer to the beginning. So So I kind of like that bread. The other one kind of gets a little bit moist. It gets sticky on the top. So I'm kind of hoping this one, you know, it feels nice and it feels good. So, and again, Maria Emmerich was talking about really about, is the other bread really protein sparing modifying bread? You know, it's more just egg white powder bread. It's not protein sparing modified bread, just according to her anyway. So I put it, like I said, I put a link down to her page down there. But if you like bread and you're missing bread, this is the way to go. So let me go find the macros here. I'm going to write down on a piece of paper. So these are all recipes that I have going right now. So I got it written on one of these. I've kind of cooked this so many times now. I'm getting used to doing it without having to really look at the recipe very much. So hold on a second. Let me find it, and let's come back and talk about it. All right, sorry about that. I got 3 or 4 things cooking here at once, so I have the recipes all over the place and everything else. So not very well organized. It's something I need to work on in 2022, right? So, but I have this as the way it works out today. It's about 50 calories, 0 grams of fat in it, about 10 protein in it, and it works out to about 0.6 total carbs for a slice of this bread. So pretty good. So you know, if it's something that you're missing in your diet is bread. Like I said, it's good for toast. We toasted some yesterday. We had it with our breakfast. So even if you're just doing regular keto and you're looking for something that has really good ingredients and it doesn't have the weak glutens in it and it doesn't have some of the other stuff in it, this is the way to go. I will tell you. So this is really good. Toast it. You can make grilled cheese with it. You can do just about anything with it. You know, use it for burgers or whatever. It's pretty moist. It doesn't too spongy. Don't overcook it. Don't overbeat it. And it's pretty good. It doesn't have that dry, foamy taste. If you overbeat it or if you overcook it, you'll get that styrofoam taste to them. So I think I've dialed it in. This is the bread I think we're gonna stick with. You know, like I say, we do put the egg yolk powder in it as well. Sometimes if we're just looking for a little extra fat and a little extra flavor, and sometimes I'll do that. And I'll put the keto chow into it, like I am going to make some the chocolate bread, just because I'm going to use that for breakfast and eating into breakfast. And again, it comes out to probably like a carb a slice or so. So really good idea. Actually, Joe over at Two Perfect Ketos is the one I saw that he was talking about sweetbreads. So that's what kind of said, well, I'd try it. So I've done the banana one. I'm going to do a chocolate one here as well. So pretty simple, pretty easy to do, quick. They don't take long to make. I like them. I put some of the seasoning in there to give it a little bit of flavor. I kind of like it with a little bit of the spice. I imagine most people would not do that. I know people that put active yeast in it and stuff as well. So again, I would be cautious about adding a lot of extra stuff into it, just because when you add all the extra stuff into it, you take it pretty far from where it originally came from. So, but anyway, I really like it. It's a great recipe. The bread looks great, right? So, you know, that'll be on my thumbnail. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you give it a thumbs up. Hopefully you subscribe down below. You know, hit that little bell icon. I'd really appreciate it. Check out those affiliate links. Go over and check out Sharon's page as well. Hey, remember, you guys are awesome. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.